While I was looking through Manosphere content for my previous video, I stumbled upon what might be some of the meanest content I've ever seen on the entire internet. Imagine you're a third grade bully, then age him up 15 to 20 years and give him a complex about other people having confidence and a niche obsession with the angles of people's faces, and you have this guy.
You're below average immediately. She looks pretty bad. A lot of you guys look horrible, like, just leave.
He makes a lot of content about food and dieting, but he also likes to chronically misunderstand the definition of words and bully people on the internet because he doesn't find them attractive. In this Jubilee video, a group of 100 people attempt to find the person who is rated most attractive out of all of them based on a survey. Obviously, this is a pretty shallow premise to start with, but this guy's gonna make it 100% worse.
Hard is the number you got on the poll.
Oh god. An 8 out of 10. A real 8 out of 10 would be someone like Amber Heard would be a good example.
So if Amber Heard is an 8, does that mean that 20% of people out there are more attractive than her? If 20% of the people you see are more attractive than Amber Heard, I'm just going to assume that you spend every waking moment on a perfectly curated Instagram feed full of models.
Why is she crying?
Expecting it, because it is.
Do you think an attractive person would cry if they were told they're attractive?
I mean, yeah, attractive people can still be insecure. It's not like being hot is a solution to every single problem that a human can have. She's dealing with her insecurity by crying, and looksmaxxers deal with it by making an entire application dedicated to reinforcing those insecurities and imposing them on other people. I'll give you 3 guesses which coping mechanism is worse.
No!
Why are you saying no? So cringe. Why are people saying no?
I don't know if it's the best look to get hostile at the idea of people being nice to other people. It kind of makes it seem like no one has ever been nice to you and you're envious.
This guy needs to shut the up and get out. Seriously, man.
Self-confidence.
Like, holy dude, if I was around these people hearing like self-confidence energy, I'd be like, shut the up. It only has to do with your face. You're coping. You look bad. You need to improve or leave. Like, I don't care.
Do you think this guy's playing it up for the camera, or do you think he's actually like this in real life?
Yo, is that a new shirt?
Oh yeah, I thought it looked pretty good on me, so just had to get it.
Hell yeah, looks good, bro.
No, it doesn't. It looks objectively bad.
He also has a ton of beef with this one specific person.
Middle top. I think.
No, you're one of the worst looking people in the entire circle. What are you doing? You're extremely obese. Get the out of the circle.
And this number doesn't really validate or invalidate anything about me.
She actually has a really healthy mindset. If everyone had this kind of mindset, there would be a lot less of this kind of thing going on.
I'm very much me, and I love myself, and I can get it at home anyway. My boy thinks I'm a 10.
And there's the issue. There's someone actually dating her.
I don't really get why it's upsetting for a person to be in a relationship with someone who makes them feel loved. It's kind of a big red flag for a person's mental health if it's truly distressing to see other people happy. If this guy wasn't such a bully, I would almost feel bad for him. I can't imagine it's easy to feel the need to convince people to hate themselves as much as you do. But my sympathy kind of goes out the window when you start taking out your insecurities on other people and making society worse in the process. I know that this is probably rage bait for engagement, but the last thing people need is to be influenced to be meaner than they already are.
About you.
Oh my god, shut up.
On YouTube. Yeah.
You guys are insufferable.
He swears that he's not being toxic and this is a totally natural and acceptable reaction to have.
I don't care. People may watch this video and think I'm like negative or toxic. No. It's the natural reaction to people being so narcissistic and delusional.
It might come easy to a person to be mean like this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's natural. Also, just because something is natural doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't toxic. Those two things are not the opposite of one another.
Yeah, they keep mentioning personality as a cope. It's a complete cope. By the way, attractive people are rated to have better personalities aside from the halo effect. Attractive people are an average of 10 IQ higher than unattractive people.
It's really hard to prove that one thing causes another in situations like this. Firstly, IQ isn't a complete measure of intelligence. There are plenty of unmeasured factors of intelligence that are more difficult to quantify. Things like emotional intelligence, real-world problem solving, and creativity. Also, some very smart people just suck at taking tests. Then, to make matters worse, there's often a cultural and socioeconomic bias in IQ testing. Attractive people are often given more opportunities and treated better. If this happens during their intellectual development, it makes sense that they would end up being smarter than someone who wasn't given the same opportunities. That's clearly a problem. I'm not saying that it's not, but it doesn't mean that everyone who is not conventionally attractive is dumb and everyone who is conventionally attractive is automatically smart. This kind of just feels like another avenue to make people insecure about their physical appearance. In the next video, 5 women are ranked on their attractiveness by each other and then by their boyfriends. Over and over again, he just gets so nasty with women he isn't attracted to.
Yes, I definitely think he thinks that I'm attractive, or at least I hope so.
No, he doesn't. He probably just settled with you. And he definitely doesn't think you're attractive. He has no SMV, so he settled for you. Hard to listen to her voice. I'd be attracted to this girl. I'd be repelled by this girl.
He even says it's impossible for someone to be attracted to her.
Oh, it's not possible for someone to be attracted to you.
That's such a genuinely awful thing to say about a person. He even admits that it sounds harsh, which isn't the word I would use to describe it.
I know that sounds really harsh, but it genuinely is not possible for anyone to be attracted to your face.
It's not just harsh, it's cruel. And he gets much worse about her too. At one point, he even stops referring to her as her and starts using it instead. He gets so bad that I honestly don't even feel comfortable putting some of the clips in here. But I will tell you that it's really awful. I honestly don't even recommend that you go watch it.
She's obviously not attracted to this guy.
1.5 years strong.
If you friend zone a guy at first, dude, that says everything. That means you weren't attracted to him. Poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy. He's suffered what may be the worst fate known to man. Having a pretty girlfriend. Thoughts and prayers. That's rough.
Tattoos are really extremely toxic. They would make you less attractive because you look less. Also, they make you look promiscuous socially.
Tattoos are attractive to some people and not to others. It's just personal preference. If nobody liked tattoos, are people just lying on surveys for fun?
I go to the gym for mental clarity and just to
Yeah, you look like you go to the gym. You look extremely worn out. Especially when women go to the gym. Their bodies cannot really handle it very well.
I
How?
almost went to the Olympics for both ice skating and skiing.
Doesn't matter at all.
I'm
The build,
PhD,
yeah.
everything.
Like you played
A
soccer.
PhD is just an invisible title. It doesn't make you more attractive at all.
God forbid a woman do literally anything. Tattoos? Bad. Exercising? Bad. Getting a PhD or competing in the Olympics? Well, it doesn't make you more physically attractive, so bad. He then spends the rest of the video getting mad at the guys who don't agree with his rankings.
None of you guys have any backbone. You can't rank another girl more attractive than your girlfriend. You're too scared. I would do it. I don't care. Shut up, man. You're pathetic. I hate these people. Can't stand you guys. Disgusting how you guys behave, especially the men. You guys have no backbone. You guys are absolute pathetic simps.
And then, after being absolutely vicious to people for no good reason, he makes sure to grab everyone he's now made insecure and direct them towards his courses that will supposedly make you more attractive. There are 2 objectives here. The first one is to convince people that attractiveness can be boiled down to a single number, and the second is to try and get people more insecure. That way, he can direct them to this website of his and make money. It's a way of creating a problem and then selling the fix. This is a very common tactic in the beauty industry. He's just way more aggressive about it than most.
Today I'm going to prove to you that looks are objective. So here we have Taylor. She's currently a 7.8, and let's see how we can change her score. Cantle tilt. So this is how up or down turned her eyes are. Let's change that. Boom. Do you see? She looks worse now.
No, she doesn't. She looks just as good as she did before. Maybe she looks worse to some people, but not everyone.
So this is the spacing of her eyes. Let's change this. Boom. Reduced her score. We can predictably make her look worse. It will always reduce her score.
The app says wide-set eyes are ugly, and you can tell because the app says so. That's not exactly the best argument. Hey, so this piece of paper says you're ugly. Why would I listen to a piece of paper? Well, if you read the bottom, it says that it's always right and totally objective. Oh my god, you're totally right, it does. I guess I should just go get plastic surgery then. Yeah, good idea.
As we stray this ratio, we can predictably see her score get worse.
Of course the rating goes down. That's the point of the entire program. It's just doing exactly what you told it to do. It means literally nothing except the person that created the site did their job.
Okay, here we have John Eric Hexton. This guy was, a heartthrob back in the day. He was an actor. Actually, with him, we can make him look better, I think, with a cantoplasty, yeah. This will actually upturn his eyes.
I remember when I was a little kid and my best friend and I got into an argument in a Baskin Robbins because she said mint chocolate chip was the best ice cream and I said it was pistachio. Then afterwards it dawned on me, people have personal preferences and that's totally fine, so I apologized. It's wild that I developed the knowledge of personal preferences in kindergarten while this is a whole ass adult who's still confused about the topic.
What makes it objective is that it will predictably look worse with the score.
Except that's not what that word means. Just because the average person of a certain demographic during a certain time period would rate a feature as attractive doesn't mean that it's objective. That number is only objective if it's true for everyone, everywhere. If you trip on the stairs and something doesn't catch you, you're gonna fall down. It doesn't matter if the stairs are in Miami, Florida in 2026 or the pyramids of Giza in 2500 BCE. Gravity is going to exist. Gravity doesn't care about your feelings. Gravity doesn't care what time period it is. It doesn't care if you disagree. It's objective. Attraction isn't because it's based entirely on feelings. If you put this guy in Africa in 10,000 BCE, people wouldn't have thought, wow, this is objectively beautiful. They would have thought, holy shit, that's an alien that snuck on the planet.
Let's go to eyes, let's go to canthal till, let's make it worse. Boom, he looks worse now.
Yeah, he looks worse to you, but not to everyone. There's an entire section of TikTok dedicated to teaching people to fake downturned eyes with eyeliner because of how cute it looks. That wouldn't exist if downturned eyes were objectively unattractive.
That's see how it tracks always, and then we put it back to where it should be and it's more attractive. It's objective. These ratios are real.
Numbers are objective. The meaning behind those numbers is subjective. It's really important to know that difference.
Correct Tom Holland's protruding ears. He has ears protruding. You can just say it. You just talk to the bot, it'll do it for you. It's pretty crazy. Like, there's not another software like this, which is why I'm just so fucking proud. Boom. Look at that. That's crazy. You just talk to it.
So it's basically a chatbot that can do what Photoshop can do in 10 seconds. It sort of just feels like some people rely on AI because it feels nice to have an AI do something for you instead of just doing it for yourself.
If you actually want to, get the life partner you want, the attractive guy or girl that you want, if you want to be seen as attractive, I have work to do myself, but if you do want to be seen as attractive, you need to be tracking these metrics, in my humble opinion.
You could get every single aesthetic surgery known to man, and there's still no guarantee that any specific person will be attracted to you because everyone has different preferences. Attraction is subjective. I mean, look at Clavicular. He spent tens of thousands of dollars, and he still gets rejected regularly. Women in Paris didn't seem to think he was anything special at all, and that's largely due to the fact that beauty standards are different in France than they are in the United States. Clavicular has a very specific type of look. He's pretty attractive to some people, and he's entirely unattractive to others. That's not unique to him, though. That's just the case for everyone.
I think if you watch this video and you don't understand that facial attractiveness is completely quantifiable by math, at this point, then I don't think you want to accept reality.
Not wanting to accept an assertion that includes no empirical evidence and a complete misunderstanding of the definition of words is pretty far away from not accepting reality. Now, let's actually check out the website. My favorite thing is if you read the terms of service, they completely go against everything that this guy has been saying in his videos. We aren't objective, and we're going to sell your data to advertisers so they know you're insecure and can market shit to you. This is basically just an elaborate phishing scheme. Props to the people who came up with this. Honestly, it's some supervillain shit. And despite the entire website basically only showing you things you can fix with surgery, the disclaimer says, we aren't telling you to get surgery, this is just advice. Yeah, advice that tells people that they look ugly unless they get surgery. The website also has a page with celebrity ratings, and it's just as wrong as you would expect. Apparently, according to math, Elon Musk is much more attractive than Michael B. Jordan. They have a disclaimer that the ratios of someone's face isn't the only thing that contributes to their attractiveness, but I'm going to be completely honest, that metric means very little to me when you put Anya Chalotra near Joe Rogan. I'm going to show you two images, and you're going to go ahead and tell me if you see something a little off here. This picture is of the highest rated celebrities on the list, and this one is the lowest. I'll go ahead and give you a second to look them over. If you thought, wait a second, that's not Kanye West, then you would be correct. But there's an even worse problem going on here. Notice how the highest group has a significant lack of melanin? Meanwhile, people of color are way overrepresented in the bottom. Yeah, this attractiveness rating is clan level racist. Actually, now that I think about it, there's a word for opinions that change based on prejudices. Subjective. If the only way you can reach the undeniable peak of beauty is by getting a bunch of plastic surgery, then that means humans have been f***ing ugly for the entirety of human existence. So you're telling me that you know for certain that this is the first time in human history that humans have finally been attractive? And it has nothing to do with marketing by the beauty industry to make us all obsessed with filler, fat grafting, weight loss drugs, and plastic surgery? No one during the Renaissance had buccal fat removal, rhinoplasties, and canthoplasties, so they were all ugly, and everyone at the time agreed, right? There, see? Much better. Helen of Troy, a figure from Greek and Roman mythology, was considered at the time to be the most beautiful mortal woman to ever exist. The earlier depictions of her include a straight nose, strong brow ridge, and an upper body that's a fair bit wider than her hips. Her waist isn't particularly thin either, at least by the standards that women are expected to have these days. And she looks like that because that's what people expected the ideal woman to look like during that time period. Societies have beauty standards, and if they were objective, they never would have changed. From the beginning of humanity until now, across all societies, people would have come to an agreement on what looked best. During the Victorian era, thinness and an extremely pale, sickly complexion was the beauty standard. The best way to look hot back then wasn't mewing, it was dying of tuberculosis. Kinda makes bone smashing look a little bit tame in comparison. Whether we like it or not, we're all socialized by the media we consume and the people we meet. That socialization will change our preferences for just about everything. If every love interest and superhero looks a certain way, that's what our brains are going to learn is attractive. But what decides what gets put in media? Well, occasionally it's public health. Having a beard was a beauty standard for men in the US in the 1800s, and that's because razors at the time were actually really dangerous. Getting a cut anywhere on your body before antibiotics and disinfectants were available was extremely dangerous. Once humans discovered germ theory, British society deemed beards unhygienic, and the beauty standard became a bare face. In a lot of other cases, conventional beauty is really just a physical representation of someone's wealth. During famines, being fat is considered attractive because you're wealthy enough to be able to eat. In a significant amount of Western history, being pale was considered the beauty standard because that means that you didn't have to work outside. Then, after office jobs became prominent, being tan became a beauty standard because that meant that you could take time off work and go out into the sun. The current obsession with thinness is just another moniker of wealth because that means you can afford healthy food or that you can afford weight loss drugs. Conventional beauty is often a way for upper classes to distinguish themselves from everyone else. Now, since the upper class is so often in our vision instead of in a castle 50 miles away, the social pressure to copy those beauty standards moves faster and hits harder. If you look back even as recently as 30 years ago, you'll notice that men seem to participate a bit less with the beauty standard than they do now. There was obviously a standard that defined conventionally attractive for men back then, but beauty standards just weren't as intense for men as they were for women. Now, unfortunately for men, that seems to be changing. The looksmaxxing community has a tendency to chalk this up to feminism, and as far as the dating part goes, they're kind of right, sort of. In a time where women couldn't open a bank account without a man's signature, the looks behind that signature mattered significantly less than his willingness to put pen to paper. That is to say that a not conventionally attractive man who meets a woman's needs is going to be preferable to a conventionally attractive one that doesn't. If you view women as humans and not objects to possess, women gaining more and more autonomy is going to be a good thing to you, even if that autonomy has started to force men to become desirable and not just useful. Dating isn't the primary force behind this new obsession, though. At least, I don't believe so. And it circles back to wealth again. Because more than a desire to get laid, humans have a desire for food, shelter, and water, all things that you have to buy with money. And your looks are going to make a difference in whether or not you get hired or how much you get paid when you do. This doesn't just affect men, but everyone. The people deciding to hire, fire, or give you a raise are more often than not men. And speaking of men and money, men have been a largely untapped resource for the beauty industry. And with new dating pressures, they finally have an in, and it's a big one. Male aesthetic medicine is one of the fastest growing industries in luxury healthcare, making men as a demographic insecure about their nose bridge angle, hairline, or the shape of their eyes is the foundation of a rapidly expanding multi-billion-dollar industry, an industry almost entirely dominated by male doctors and male executives. The people inventing the problem, paying you less for it, and then getting paid to fix it are almost always men. So placing the blame squarely on women is completely unfair. In regards to physical appearance, men are beginning to experience a fraction of the pressure that women have faced for centuries, and they're cracking under it. And instead of directing their ire at the companies that are picking their pockets, sometimes they just direct it at other people instead. It's just more satisfying for them to hurt other people than it is to fix a system. So what, Alex? I hear you say. What if I don't care about the politics of attraction? I just want people to like me. Well, much like Wall Street, attraction is a vibes-based economy. As they say, when a weird guy is hot, it's really cool, but when a hot guy is weird, it's honestly so scary. For example, if attraction were truly objective, no woman would prefer Pedro Pascal to Henry Cavill, and I can assure you that plenty of them do, and it's because Pedro Pascal has immaculate vibes. I mean, according to the website, the most attractive man to ever exist has a below-average side profile. Do you know how many times I've seen this in a thirst edit on TikTok? Either this app isn't a very good judge of attractiveness, or a person's vibes can make below average look a million times better. Actually, it's probably both of those things. And I'd like to point out, he isn't hot because he's tall or because of the bone structure or whatever else. The actor, Lee Pace, is attractive, obviously. If his face structure was what mattered, why does a 24-inch bust down and a cunty attitude take him from, I can see why people think he's attractive, to, I guess I can't say I'm not attracted to men? Objective attraction wouldn't allow for the existence of types. It also wouldn't allow for vibes to be so important in determining whether or not a person is attracted to someone. Sometimes, vibes are strong enough to make people attracted to things that are as far from convention as possible. I mean, have you seen the "hear me out" posts that women make? There are thousands of women on this planet that want to fuck a blue M&M, a fish, and a goddamn toothbrush. People make edits on TikTok of a bee, dude. The one thing that all of these characters have in common is that they have the right vibes. They're confident, sometimes mysterious, and they all seem like they would help you if you needed it. And as much as people say it, I don't really know if confidence is all that important. A few years ago, when Encanto first came out, women absolutely adored the character Bruno. An awkward, shy, clumsy, short, obviously neurodivergent man who has a whole bunch of features that looksmaxxers claim make a person completely unattractive. But his vibes are great. He's interesting, fun, and selfless. That makes him attractive to a bunch of people despite not meeting the beauty standard. So I propose that instead of looksmaxxing, we try vibes-maxxing. Pick a trait that you have that people like. Maybe you're funny or smart. Maybe you're really creative or selfless. Whatever it is, lean into it and build around it. Join a book club, a comedy club, volunteer at a shelter, or maybe take a pottery class. Do something that puts you in contact with people who like your vibes. Physical appearance might catch someone's eye, but it's your personality that makes someone love you. Even if you're weird as hell, that's totally fine too. Being weird is also really cool sometimes, because there's a lot of people out there with really unusual traits about them. I mean, hell, some people are attracted to a fictional bee.
Oh, that bee is living my life!
Let it go, Kenny.
When will this nightmare end?